Veronica, Dan, Ikboy. It's a really wet Saturday, and I have my co-hosts here in the studio. It's a full house, actually. I have Mrs. Perhaps.
Yeah, thanks. It's such a delight to be here again.
Yeah. Right. So how was your week? Let me begin with you, Mrs. Fash.
Thank you, Veronica. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning,
Veronica. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
You know when you think you've prepared and they get to the stage and they start to fight for the mic?
Of course.
And
Typical of children.
everything will just... But we came fifth too.
Oh.
Yeah, they gave us two. They gave us... Thank you for asking.
All right.
Yeah.
You don't want to have
Okay.
you.
So fine. Thank you.
Obviously.
Thank you. Thank you. Insightful to be in the presence of entrepreneurs that had gone ahead of us and have shattered glass ceilings and made a lot of success despite all. Yes, so my week was great. It was a busy one because I spent most of the time putting in applications for my business. You know, who doesn't know like business? You know, who doesn't know like
It will definitely pay off. You have to keep trying.
Absolutely.
It's when you're not trying that you wouldn't know if you would have made progress. But I also know if you would have made progress. But I also you see some stories that just bother you, basically. For instance, a father that slept with the daughter, impregnated. The baby.
Oh my God.
Now, I in my head, I'm wondering, what kind of life do you expect your daughter to live? How is your daughter live? How is your daughter stories like that over the week, where reoccurring stories where fathers are having carnal knowledge of their daughters, and I am wondering where are our
I really applaud you, Veronica, because you put out this news every day. So I'm just thinking about your mental state.
right? Be there to save lives. So you are, I was speaking with a colleague this morning, I'm saying, and I told her that this job is beyond passion right now.
Absolutely.
It is beyond passion right now.
Absolutely.
It is off the platform you have.
Absolutely.
To have these conversations. And that is part of what we are doing
So
here.
you maximizing this platform.
Absolutely. Right now, we need to begin to. Now, we need to begin to. Newspaper headlines. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Here, Tinubu, financial system rotten under Emefiele, says associates thought he was joking when he said subsidy. Where he went to have some conversations and meeting that has to do with countries who need some level of financial assistance. And then he also, we're looking at another story here now. Terrorists, bandits, oil thieves are targets. New service chiefs speaking there. The story here, I tried to plead videos of victims taking oaths to pay back $30,000. An unfortunate story. Now, residents cry for help as flood submerges Abuja. Life lost. Analysts say Naira now undervalued at 770 Naira to a dollar. And then at the top, I got information about Tinubu's Guinean citizenship online. Atiku, PDP's star witness. Obi, Labour Party close with 13 out of
nations. On page 14, brutal exploits of human traffickers. Madams record nude videos of victims taken over. They know that's the victims. They know what they tend to face. They still go ahead to take these channels to the use of social media. You don't have to sell your body to be able to feed your family. And then we also have some parents who actually encourage these girls to go on these journeys,
Know that this is the plan these madams have. They come saying, want to help your daughter, want to, lift your family from poverty. So we'll take your daughter with us. So we'll take your daughter with us. Your daughters for this kind of business.
This particular madam actually posted this Chisom's story online, and that's because she was trying to on board the girls, they usually, record a nude video of them, and then they make them, and then they make them take an oath. Sometimes if you try to escape it, they will send courtesy to escape it. They will send courtesy.
This story about this woman, her name is Tina, just to leave it there, whose husband, shot her, The situation happened, she said her husband came home reeking of alcohol, he was drunk, and then she tried to ask him to go inside the room, saying, "You're always preparing rice for me," this and that. He now went to the fridge, got Coke, emptied it on her, Wow. And that was at close range.
How did he even
now? That's one question. Then the other matter is her mom had said that the victim's mom has said that this she felt that the way, he comes to beg, that he will change, stuff like that, and that the daughter will always say that because of her children, she had to, she had to, she
So, have you ever wondered?
By Ajebo and Friends, featuring.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the one who can make time stand still forever, Mr. Kelechi Amadi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
You love that intro, Abi?
It was great.
Okay,
thank you.
We try like that.
Thank you.
Now my question, which I feel is a cheap question.
Oh, go ahead.
What does ISO stand for?
That is it. I think I'll drink.
No, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
Kelechi Amadi. No. Shay, you didn't whine me. You're whining me now.
I think I'll drink.
Huh?
No problem.
Okay.
I've always known it as ISO. I never bothered to know what it means. I know what it means, but I never bothered to know what the acronym is. Tell me the brand of camera that I use, so much so that I even became an ambassador. That's very easy. Like,
Thank you for staying with us. We are still looking through the newspaper headlines, and we're talking about the matter of the lady that was shot by her husband, and you were mentioning something about we need to balance it as a society, involvement of religious houses. Oh, yeah.
The church, the mosque. Let's see that we bring the balance to it. So people do not think if there's a reason to be out of a marriage, they fail themselves. I think that notion has to change. When your life is at risk, you need to scream. You need to say something. We don't want to continue to read stories of people who are victims of domestic violence after they are gone. So it's just important that we get the balance. Get the balance from everywhere, media, religious organizations, family. Let's get the balance. Nobody should make anyone feel like he or she has failed. I mean, there are so many factors that are necessary to make a marriage work. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, I also have a report on page 24, and it says PEFT gets accreditation from NCC UK. So PEFT is the popularly known institution that trained artists or actors for Super Story. Wale Adenuga production. And it's amazing to see that over the years, they've now been accredited by the NCC Education Unit, which is to enable African students acquire BSc and Masters abroad. So you do a course with them for 1 year, and you can go to foreign universities, and I think that that's brilliant.
So it's a laudable one. We say kudos to them.
Absolutely. All right, we move quickly now to the Punch, Saturday Punch, and the major story here says subsidy removal. Families, workers devise survival strategies amid rising prices. Housewives import foodstuff from rural areas, contribute for bulk purchases. Workers share rides, motorists turn vehicles to Kabu Kabu, more embrace solar energy. I trained my ears, hands to detect car faults. Blind mechanic speaking there. And flood wreaks havoc in Abuja, submerges 116 houses. Monitor political appointees accounts regularly, CBN tells banks. Financial system rotten under Emefiele, says Tinubu. Salarams, traders lament low sales amid high prices. So I have the major story here, talking about subsidy removal. We had said it that day, recall, that we had this conversation about Nigerians, devising means of to survive. Because the situation is here. The truth is, it is here to stay. You can't change it. And so they have to devise a means for survival. Because life has to go on. You can't end your life because subsidy was removed. So now the report is saying that housewives come together, put resources together. Maybe you can be in a community and you guys put resources together. You know someone in the village. You guys can say, okay, you know what? Let's buy food stuff. But bulk purchase from the rural areas is cheaper for us. And then you have that. And then people are carpooling. Okay, we go together this week. Next week, we use your car.
What do we Nigerians? We always find a creative way out.
Of course. We'll always find a creative way. We'll go together next week. And then there are those who are saying, okay, this is how much it takes to fuel my generator. Okay, let me see. Okay, if I buy solar, which is better, if I buy inverter, which will save me the most. That's what Nigerians are looking at. And then still in the paper, they were talking about ways of, adjusting or adapting to the situation on the ground. Some are suggesting, you know what? Begin to trek.
As clear as it may seem, normally, like the pedestrian bridges, I would try to avoid it. But now, when I think about so many factors, I just have like, let me just climb in.
Go trek. Happily. Yeah, happily trek. And if anybody sees your eyes, I know this face. Hello.
God bless you.
Thank you. We have a trekking culture.
We are together, of course. So, and then they're saying that, you know what? Cut costs, whatever it is that you can do away with, at least you can begin to look at cutting costs.
But the person that works in Ota and wants to come to work at maybe Victoria Island. So how is the person?
That's another point they raised.
So what happens is,
around.
if you are in traffic and you feel you can trek to the next bus stop to get, you know, the vehicle that will take you to wherever you're going, you will do it.
Sure.
You have to do it. We did it this morning. You did it with traffic.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
I mean, anyway. So then the others were just, you know, devising means for how. And then there are those who complained about the fact that it's impacting their health as well. But then you just have to find a way of coping.
I have a story also.
Bulk purchase, beautiful.
Right.
I think that's something to consider.
Yes.
No, of course.
I have a story also on page 26. It says, Yomi Casual speaks on styling TD Chics. Right? Yes, so because I'm an entrepreneur, so I understand what is. And in my head, I'm like,
that's a huge
this is nice. And you know, it's kind of encouraging for other entrepreneurs to see that these things are actually possible. And if I would put in a word out there, and if I would put in a word out there to say, please stay in the game, stay consistent, one day
it will pay off.
It will pay.
It will.
It will pay off. Any other person have a story?
So I have a story on page 23, the visually impaired man. I mean, instead of looking at the pathetic side, of course, there are so many excuses. I wish in every organization, they do these Monday review meetings, and the title should be No More Excuses. Like, we need to move away from all almost impossible to imagine that a mechanic can work out his sight. Because you know they'll tell you, I saw you, you hardly hear, I heard. Okay, so for him to have done this for
his customers.
Like, I need to read more about this guy. I am encouraged.
That is incredible.
Everybody must know that, I mean, no more excuses. It's true, but no more excuses. It's true, but no more excuses.
I had a colleague like that. He produces a program then on the radio. He's still there up till now. He's still doing the job. He goes home. He will tell you, no, he doesn't need help. Just he's doing his job. If you give him something, maybe if you give him 100 or 500 naira, he'll feel it and tell you how much it is.
Wow. He's visually impaired as well.
Yes, he's visually impaired. So they have that heightened sense to detect whatever it is because they are visually impaired. So every other sense is working at an optimal level.
So Veronica, is it not possible for those of us who can see to also train our
because we can
it is
see,
actually possible.
I think because we can see, we would not put in that extra.
So that's what I like about it. It's possible to get us to try other.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We are limitless, to be honest.
President says Nigeria's financial system under ex-CBN boss rotten. God gave me courage to stop fuel subsidies. 40-year-old scam. Then another story here. Protesters, Ibadan Disco throws 50 Osun communities into darkness. Senate committee's leadership, ex-governors. Why are we laughing? Akwabios men lobby for juice.
It's late in Osun. 50 households.
Wike Plots Minority Caucus leadership upset. Presidential poll, Obi Labour Party close case against Tinubu. INEC with 13 witnesses. will set up Fulani vigilantes in 36 states. For peace to reign, Benue governor must abolish anti-grazing law. Benue governor anti-open grazing law here to stay. All right. New service chiefs to terrorist bandits, we are coming after you. Kano Southeast governors Ohaneze in fresh move to free IPOB leader. Presidential poll, Atiku, PDP tender Tinubu's Chicago varsity certificates, Guinean passport, others in court. Who has what story?
Saturday Sun.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a story on page 6. It's another pathetic one. So it has to do with postpartum stress, postpartum depression, and now postpartum psychosis. one that nobody should ever get into. So it's interesting to find out that almost, okay, so the article says about 75% of mothers have this baby blues. Like when you just have a baby and you think of everything you have to go through, having to sleep shorter hours, having to make sure your baby's fine. You know, like someone told me last week, she just called to say, oh, I got something from you. And because I sent it a long time ago, I was wondering that, really, did I send anything to you? Well, she said, I've had a lot of issues. Do you know that my baby's arm was broken? My daughter's arm was broken at birth. So I was just, when she was talking, I felt so bad. Like, how would this baby have been able to tell the mom that there's something, a newborn baby? How did she realize there was, you know? So there are so many things that could just give women that easy pathway into postpartum depression. But now we're saying nobody should assume they're lazy. No one should assume they're just being silly. Seek help if you need to. When the feeling starts, before you get, while it's still at the blues level, if you notice you cry, you know you've been crying and it extends, make sure you seek help.
I had a friend who, you had a personal experience.
Should I?
Go ahead.
Okay, so when I had my child, my first child, delivery was easy.
Okay.
So it progressed. I was far away from him. Although I was admiring him, but I was far away from him. I was very
connection.
Emotionally.
Connection.
Emotionally. Because I felt, why did I have to go through so much pain because of, you know, this child? And it went on for a while. But, you know, I had to speak to my husband about it, saying, because I had a child before, so I could tell the difference, and I had to speak with him to say, this is not right. I'm not connecting, you know, and we had the conversation, and I'm grateful that I was there to listen to me. And I didn't wait till it progressed to outrightly hating the child. So I was able to get back.
Because that's important. Some partners, husbands, do not understand what the woman is going through when she's trying to explain that these are the issues. And so they grow with that hatred, that feeling towards the child. I had a friend who also had a similar situation. She said she was looking at the child like, who is this? What's this? And so it took a lot of talking, praying to get her back on track.
But that sounds weird. That's your own child.
Yes.
But these are real issues.
These are real issues. They are real issues. Let's quickly move now to Saturday Vanguard. The major story here says, revealed Tinubu's twin strategy for cabinet appointments to satisfy politicians as well as use experts to drive development. There's been talks about lobbying going on with regards to the positions and cabinet positions as he is trying to put together his cabinet. A lot of politicians are said to be lobbying. We'll move now to another story here. Niger Delta chieftains to Tinubu direct new service chiefs to expose oil thieves in military. Early morning flood submerges 116 houses in Abuja. An unfortunate incident there. Entertainment Nigeria's next driver of economic growth. Meet current top female earners, highest grossing movies. Yvonne Nelson Kozik stares with memoir on her pregnancy, abortion, DK. Interesting one. Pro-Buhari's ministers, Yerima tells Tinubu, says Buhari appointed ministers went to sleep, pretended not to see massive corruption in his government. Man, girlfriend sell their 1-month-old baby to fund drug addiction.
I have that story.
That's crazy.
I have that story.
Please, before you take that sad story, let me first of all celebrate this girl first that got, you know, the perfect 5.0 GP.
Yes. Okay, we've been taking sad stories.
Yes. Let's also celebrate that before that cloud will come again.
The Pepsi one now. The Pepsi one was a good story.
Well, true. So, Aminat has been in the news for about 2-3 days now. I think she was even on the weekday version edition of Your View yesterday, exactly. And it was I was so impressed by her. She was so confident. She was so self-aware. And for a hijabi sister, you know, there's this misconception about, you know, ladies who wear hijabs, oh, they are so submerged, or, you know, religion tends to
They don't
make
live
them
life fully.
Exactly. So I was so proud to see her living her dream. You know, she has prepared for this, and then she said, and she didn't use all the excuses of there was no light, or lecturer did not come, or the lecturer was.
She said she was even soaking Gary.
Yeah, she said she soaked Gary. How I survived on Gary, lived on varsity premises without rooms. Like,
Wow.
like she actually survived. Yes,
Determined.
exactly. It's not an excuse. Nobody has an excuse to not thrive in this world. You just have to keep putting in the work, believe in yourself. And then, you know, she already said that she wasn't even expecting this kind of reward and attention, because she said she was discussing with a friend of hers, and then out, and she's been celebrated everywhere, and it has just helped her to renew her dreams, because she wanted to jackpot after school. Now she's going to stay.
Right.
She's going to stay.
Right. You want us to, you have a story?
Yes, I have a story.
Because we have
On
like
page
less than
8.
2 minutes.
The man girlfriend sell their 1-month-old baby to fund drug addiction. As sad as it may seem, this is actually what happened. And the baby was sold for 1.7 million naira, right? And Edo State, it happened in Edo State. The Edo State Task Force is saying that for people that can't raise their children, please bring them into the task force office. We would send them to other agencies. So this is like putting the word out there. And I'm sure other states also have provisions like that, such that if you can't take care of a child, rather than thinking of, you know, selling the child off, please take them to the government.
So let's quickly touch on this story. Early morning flood that submerged some houses in Abuja Trade Mall Estate. About it, NEMA swung into action. Some other papers are reporting that one life was lost, but some are saying that no life was lost. Now this is the reoccurring issue in that estate, so it is not new to them. It's just that it is much more worse than what it used to be as we speak, to the extent that a woman in a video I saw was shouting that her house is submerged. Finally, flood has gotten to her house. You know, it has never happened before. So it goes to tell us that the extent of climate change as it is now, how it's going to affect us, because there has been this early warning system in place informing states to ensure that they move those who are in certain flood-prone areas to the upper region, to the dry lands, so to speak, so that they would not witness this kind of incident, because millions of properties destroyed in that estate. You're seeing the house of persons were even inside the car. They were in that water, in that flood.
I saw that car. There were people inside.
Yes, some persons were said to be inside the cars where the flood happened. We have to leave our conversation here now.
Who remembers?
That was last week.
I do. I remember.
We take a break. When we return, we will be looking at our hot topic. Please stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
This is 7 of 7. My name is OJ, and signing a sobriety into my hands tonight on this social experiment called the 7 of 7 is Owen G. What is the name, or what was the name? You see, I want to make them better now.
Rockheart.
No, of the goat. When they brought it on stage.
The name of that goat.
Yeah.
We should go there.
No, that one easy now.
I'm just drinking this so that I can ask him my own questions. It's not because of
Buga.
he didn't get it. You know, you know. Okay. Mention 10 female stand-up comedians in Nigeria. See, just mention their stage name. If you annoy me, you will mention their real names
and the year they started. And if you annoy me further, you mention the names of their husbands and the names of their children. Try me now. Okay, mention their name.
No, let's just.
No, wait. No, don't. No. Name, real name, stage name, husband name, children name. 10 of them.
Even the 10. That's a lot.
Eh?
That's a lot.
Did I cut your question for you?
Yes.
When you were happy now. With your hunchback.
That was it.
You are wasting time. We don't have time. See, my brother, before we go on a commercial break, you are stubborn. And I told you since. The fact that you play this your hair does not mean. You understand?
Thank you for staying with us. Now, some days ago, the police called for the arrest of a popular skit maker based in Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria, Abdullahi Maruf Adisa, popularly known as Trinity, over his dangerous pranks, especially with the recent disturbing prank that involved a 10-year-old minor. Well, joining us is the spokesperson of the Oyo State Police Command, SP8, or you can tweet to us using @TVC Connect, using the hashtag YourView on TVC. Now, this matter of prank videos, especially for this particular guy, you know, I've seen some of his videos, some funny, yes, some not funny, because of the way people react. There was one I saw, I was watching yesterday where, you know, the way he fell, and those guys, one had to jump over a fence. Yeah. And then when he jumped into the fence, there were dogs. He shouted, Aja, Aja, Aja. He jumped out. Now, that is dangerous.
Very.
Because if the guy was not as energetic or athletic of feet to jump over the fence, he could have injured himself. He could have been attacked by the dogs, if there were dogs there, and anything could have happened. Then there was the other one of the lady that was going to church. And then suddenly he manifested again. He fell on the floor, and like he was shot. And then the lady just went down on the floor and was started praying, calling all the angels she could call, all the ones she remembered, God of this one, God of. She was just praying and praying, and someone, you know, responded saying she even tried. She stood there and was praying that her faith was strong to be there while all of this was happening. But eventually she ran away. The impact on people, and then the last one I think he did that involved a minor. I watched that video and I'm wondering, what inspired this kind of conversation to have with a minor? Yes, you said you had the consent of the family. Did you tell them what it is you were going to, the content of your prank video? Because no parents in their right minds will know you are going to have that kind of conversation with their child, will release their child to you.
Veronica.
That's, yeah.
You know, I feel like poverty is a state that forces people to do despicable things. So now thinking about it, how much would they have paid this girl's parents or this guy to say, okay, I want to use your child? How much could they have paid? Because I want to believe that, you know, just like actors and all that, you pay people to come on set. And they may not have understood the extent.
No, you give them script.
Financial poverty is one. Poverty of the mind.
At that level.
If you want to have a skit,
they may not be even literate.
At that level.
You have a conversation.
Such people.
How do I flow into the skit you want to do? So
I want to go in Toby's direction. Well, before then, I don't know if any of us remembers Franco Lise. Yeah. This is 9 o'clock news. Where are your children? Do you know where your children are? You know? And he says that that was like a default line. Welcome to the 9 o'clock news. Do you know where your children are? And every time I heard him, in my head, I was like, we are by our parents' sides. Some of us are on the bed. Like, where should a normal child be at that time? But trust me, that was not a rhetorical question. It was a question that demanded answers from people who knew. That's now the case of if you know, you know. So I feel like, before I go into the Trinity matter, I feel like we have a huge gap an orientation gap in this country. Some of us do not know what, as in, the whole idea. So maybe it's because of poverty, maybe it's because of mindset, maybe some people just refuse to get out of their background, and that's why people come and take advantage of us. So I do not even care that he got consent from the parents. I saw that video and I was asking myself, what audacity. So I'm looking at the girl and I'm saying, maybe nobody has told this girl. Maybe our schools don't teach relationship safety, etiquette, body rules enough. Maybe the parents never even showed her, because so many processes were broken before that video came out. And so many other children are at the risk of such trinities if we do not rise up to it as a country, as a system.
So it's unfortunate.
Well, for me, when I saw that video, it did not look like the girl was actually recruited for that scene. I don't think she was hired for that. It was so real. You know, sometimes, sometimes when you see some of the scripted pranks, you can tell. People already leave in the comments, what is the name of this? What is the title of this movie? This is that. But this one with the girl, you could see the fear in her eyes. So to me, if I'm to judge that video from my own point of view, she was not. I think the Trinity guy just took advantage of her, and that prank, in my own opinion, is stemming from ignorance.
Is it even a prank?
Ignorance. Yes, because he was trying to prank the girl. So ignorance stemming from illiteracy, with a touch of foolishness on the Trinity guy's part now.
Everybody involved.
Everybody.
I want to even talk about the guy first, because first of all, let's even talk about the thought process. How did you imagine that scene? Because before these kit makers actually come online to shoot, there's an imaginative process that goes on, like, okay,
that you feel your audience will buy into.
Exactly. So what even led into that kind of thought process? That's what we should be asking, because
I asked already. I asked that question.
Yeah. For all I know, he could be a pedophile. Because for you to be having such a discussion with a 10-year-old, it's even very challenging, you know, to discuss sex education with minors, you know,
even your child.
Yes,
you have to process
for the right way to tell them.
That's the problem. That's why we're saying we've got to do this. Whatever you don't say to them, somebody else will tell them outside.
I understand.
And you are at the risk of it, because the person might not tell them the way you would have wanted them to hear. So I think we shouldn't. I saw that video and I could be wrong, but I don't think that girl is hearing that thing for the first time. I might be wrong. So we talk about the environment, we talk about influence, interaction from the society. So it might be something, you know, I don't think it's just because there was a camera there now. I see it as a lifestyle. I mean, we've got to get out of all of this wrong notion of just to make a living, this child is talented, so you try what is acceptable.
That was not a display of talent. It was not any display of talent. It was a display of
stupidity.
A personality that he did not know, right, will paint him in a particular light. Because if you had that kind of thought process, it shows that there is something about you that has to be probed.
Exactly.
How do you ask a child, what did you see? Describe it in that kind of manner. I mean, why are you asking those kind of questions?
Rather.
What do you want to achieve at the end of the day? Do you know what you are inculcating into that child?
Absolutely.
Because children have a curious mind.
Yes. He has actually piqued her interest by having that discussion with her. Because even after she realized that it was probably a prank, she would have got somewhere in her mind.
She almost would have cried.
She would have started talking about.
Painted something for
life. Painted a picture in her mind.
I don't even know who has been trying to touch or harass the girl.
It's more like grooming. In my view, that's more like grooming.
Yeah, it is.
She would explore, she would find out more.
So how do you get that out of the child? Yes, the police have said that they are going to take him to court. They are charging him to court on Monday and all of it. But that child, something has been done to that child that has to be corrected, that has to be reversed, if I may use that word.
So Veronica, I'd like to ask you, do you think that girl could have acted differently?
Right. Before I answer that question, we have Shola on the line from Ikorodu. Shola, good morning. Thank you for joining the program. Let's have your contribution.
Yeah, thank you, Veronica. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
You see, that different perspectives from this guy called Trinity.
All right.
Abiola, like I just said, this guy lacks understanding of what he's doing. Number two, is ignorant of the program he engaged himself into. Because if he has the understanding of what he's doing, he wouldn't have gone to the extent of engaging with a minor, with a child. So many times I look at his plans. So very, very dangerous. Very risky. You know, he took advantage of people, maybe because, like she said, people are suffering from poverty in this country and that make themselves to be used by unnecessary brands. Honestly, if not for poverty, no one would have accessed this kind of brand from this guy called Trinity. What if you have a very important thing you want? No, and this guy just came with his brand and at the end what you are going for failed, and you only price it with maybe 100,000 or 200,000. You see, this guy needs to be brought to book because I don't like most of his fans, and because of his poverty, and we need to think. We need to think outside the box. We need to think outside the box. We should not be. We should allow ourselves to take people.
All right, Shola, thank you for that contribution. I do not see it as ignorance. Let me tell you, some of these persons know what they are doing. What they want to do is to break the internet. So they want to defy certain rules to put out that content that will give them traction. Views. That will give them views. That is what most of these people do. I do not believe that if he has a sister, 10-year-old, would he agree for another person to do what he is doing? He would not.
We do not even
he
have any
would not.
conversations.
So, but even stemming from what you said,
I feel, you know, instances like this make me want to think, what is the lesson to learn for me? And I think that as individuals, in our quest for popularity and fame, we must begin to align our values and say, if XYZ comes, if 1 billion naira comes, how would I be thinking? What would my thought pattern be? Because I feel, like you said, in an attempt to break the internet, to what gain? More popularity, of course, more money, more people knowing about
Are we not the ones that say controversy sells? Exactly. We have seen people who go nude on social media just because they want those numbers, just because they want to be recognized, just because they want people to follow them, and then they can get adverts and all of it, because if you're not controversial, you wouldn't have the numbers, people wouldn't want to align with you in business. So with the society, we are also contributing to all that we're seeing.
Veronica, I'm wondering, do we have any kind of laws that protects individuals against these skit makers? Do the skit makers have any form of laws? Do they have limitations? Are there boundaries?
So I think that about maybe 20 years ago, we didn't have things like this. And, you know, we are evolving over the years. So this is the time for policymakers to begin to now look into issues like this and say, okay, create scenarios if XYZ happens, you know, and begin to draw up a proper framework for offenses.
See, there was an instance in the US where this guy had already told his company that he did not want a surprise birthday party. We're even talking about a surprise birthday party to make him happy here, not that they were just trying to prank him for something he didn't know or accuse him of something he didn't do. But he had warned them ahead because of his anxiety issues to not do any surprise birthday party for him, because it was the company's policy to always do that. And they still went ahead to do it. And what this guy did was to sue them, and he was able to cash out $450,000 from the company. This was even in good faith. So it is very important for policymakers to actually regulate these pranksters, because they do not understand the health impact that it has on some people. Just some people that are just, they are walking dead. Any small agitation, they can lose it. Of course. And you can actually be accused of manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter.
In fact,
going to care.
You are actually invading people's privacy. The things that he does. I saw a video where he said he was being chased by someone and entered a particular house, and the woman was saying. That was him. And the woman was saying, was trying to chase him away and all of that, but he insisted he was trying. So she had to hit him. She kept hitting him and all of that. You are invading people's privacy.
There are even videos of him bleeding.
So to tell you that he wants to go to the extreme. It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. Yes, people do not understand certain laws with minors. That you do not just expose minors like that.
Sexual content.
Certain persons have to get to a particular age before you can expose them on social media. But anything goes on our social media, even on TV. You do not take visuals of certain persons at a particular age, especially when they are minors, even if they are in school.
So that's the problem.
So certain laws, people do not understand some of these laws in trying to package content. You should understand there are certain laws. We are not saying, for now, there is no regulation with regards to pranks and all of that, skit making and all, but there are certain laws that protect certain persons that you shouldn't break.
You shouldn't.
And I believe that that is what he will be tried on. That is the law they might use in court against him, because you practically violated
Child Rights Act.
that child's right, as it is. You practically,
that consent was sought for or not.
Or not. Because the parents obviously are ignorant. That is why they released their child to him. It may not even be a matter of poverty. I don't think it is all about poverty.
I think it's a mixture of poverty and orientation.
Or
my own
fame as well. Like, oh, our child was featured in this.
We've seen children.
They can share.
But I'd like to say, this girl just showed us that there's so many others out there at the risk of such people. So instead of judging Trinity and just only trying to help the girl, let us see that we save as many as we can out there. So parents must have conversations with their children. Parents must have values. It's so important that parents pass values for themselves, from themselves to their children. So even when they are not there, their children know what to do. I wish we saw some kind of restraint.
But you know, you can't give what you don't have, right? Some parents do not understand.
So parents need orientation too.
Need orientation. Some are ignorant, some are shy. Some are shy.
I saw one skit. I think it was even a Diary of a Nigeria Girl that posted that one, actually criticizing that skit. She was the one that actually brought it to light. So this guy, I think somewhere in the East, actually sexualized. This one was even like a 5-year-old girl or 4, and they put I don't know what they put in her buttocks. You know, they made her look like a grown woman, and then the landlord in the skit was meant to lust after the girl. And afterwards, he brought in the girl. You know, he tricked the girl into his room and raped her. And while he was raping her, the set skit maker was banging on the door to say, landlord, no do this for me, no do this for me. And that was meant to be funny. And people were calling on this guy to pull down the skit, You know, it took about like 3-4 days of several calling out.
This happened in Nigeria?
Yes. Yeah. Before he could pull it out. And that was because that particular video was gaining a lot of views and comments.
That's it. Exactly. That was what I mentioned.
And then traction. That's what most of them apologized with the girl's parents. And the parents were like, now wait, now our neighbor, you don't do anything. Now just play, No, so there's a lot of orientation
that has to be done even for parents. We have Ify on the line calling from Isolo. Ify, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, that call dropped. Ify, you can call us again. We need to hear your perspective to this conversation. Toby, you wanted to say something.
I was going to mention that as entrepreneurs, or myself being an entrepreneur, I used to go for all these videos, or maybe they're doing a grant, and they would seek your consent to air your image on air or on their social media pages. And they send you this long document for you to sign before they're able to do that. And I'm wondering, was any document signed even for this child and her parents?
In that local place. The document was
now you can get
the conversation was illegal.
You can get consent in different ways.
You can film
the parents saying, we agree. You can write.
can even get them to do voice note.
You can do a voice. There are several ways of getting consent. So those ones is because it's a grant. They know they are going to give you documents and all of that. They have paper documents. So we can document in any form for consent. But the issue is parents obviously need orientation.
They need orientation.
They need to be aware of what the laws are, how to protect their children. And when the rights of their children is being breached, what they can do, what steps they can take as it stands. Her right was breached. That's why I said the conversation on what the content of the video was going to be may not have been told to the parents. And perhaps where it was said, they may not have understood
the impact,
or
the gravity of what they were agreeing to.
Of what they were agreeing.
And even if, don't even doubt the fact that the parents saw the video before it went out. But they just saw it as it's one of those things.
They're just playing.
Somebody else will do something else in another 2 weeks. Nobody will remember you. Which is,
You know,
I mean,
one thing I would have loved to find out is if this video was posted on YouTube, on his account on YouTube. Because YouTube
I think
would have been able to flag it down.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Because you're not supposed to include minors in any sexual content.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. So, yeah, we have our guest joining us now. That's the spokesperson for the Oyo State Police Command, SP Adewale Oshifeso, MNIPR, to talk to us more or shed more light on this case. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Right, just quickly bring us up to date with what is going on with the person of Trinity. We know, is he still in your custody as we speak? What's happening?
All right. First off, we have Abdullahi Maruf Adisa, aka Trinity guy, in our custody. He was invited on Thursday, 22nd of June 2003, and he honored the invitation yesterday, which was Friday, at about 10:02 hours, 10 a.m. local time. The facts of the case. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. The facts of the case, we discovered during the course of preliminary investigation was that the viral video making the rounds was shot sometime 2022 and was uploaded 17th November 2022. Apparently, the parents of the female, the minor, were also on the production set, unfortunately. And according to what we discovered, the parents consented to allowing the child to participate. Now, investigations are ongoing to confirm if the production of the video, the content, was shown to the parents, before it got up to the gate. But either which way, the child is just 10 years old, so she couldn't have consented to, inner parts of such an explicit sexual content video. So what we have done as a command, in line to instill sanity and serve as deterrent, of course, for other content creators that are always crossing that extreme threshold, bringing in violence and sexual content to keep both Trinity and the parents of this child. We have Ahmed Shaka, male, 40 years after that, and the mother, Rofiat Ahmed, 29, in our custody. They will be charged to court upon the completion of the investigation, and that's thing on Monday. That's first thing on Monday. They will not take court. Because we must, as
a law enforcement organization protects the future of child and, of course, our own rights. What it does basically is violate the express content of child abuse, other child abuse rights, laws of Oyo State, Section 35, and it's child abuse and sexual exploitation. That is the agreement. And of course, it's not billable. Not billable.
All right.
Thank you so much for your insights. So we have a lot of these pranksters that go about with toy guns. We don't know, sometimes they look real, sometimes they don't, but then they create this scenario where they are being shot at. Help us to understand the risks that some of these extreme pranks pose to security management.
Well, at this point in time, a lot is being put in place to ensure that we have a lot of checks and balances to ensure that people do, that they go about their businesses without fear and molestation. You can't come up with brands using extreme, what's it called, content and measures. For instance, guns, whatever, sounds, all those effects, portraying violence, it's not allowed. In fact, there was a time, I think it was last week or this week, but the fourth PRO, principal at the job, principal called the attention of these so-called creative content releasers to come up with some sort of regulatory body. Something has to be on ground to check their activities, especially the way they produce. I mean, you can't come up with a script without somebody looking at it at least. They don't just have the liberty to just, under that creative guise, to abuse other people's mental health. We've seen a lot of viral videos where people get actually injured, only for you to now go back and apologize to them and all that. Now, where we would probably fall some of these our people is that where there is no complaint, there won't be action, immediate action. Because we are going to need to get an actual complainant. I don't know if you understand. Yes. Now, in this case of the 10-year-old minor, we have a lot of NGOs and civil liberty organizations interested. And even without them coming forward, this is purely a violation of even what we collectively as Africans, as a society, stand for. That video, according to Trinity Guy, during the course of the interview with him at the command, he said he put it down almost immediately. After there was so much outcry. But what he did not know was that he left a digital footprint. Mm-hmm. And that was why the video was able to pop up again, and it's now in circulation. The face of that girl is there. It wasn't blurred. And you know what they say about the internet, it never forgets.
Yes.
So we are out to ensure that the girl's rights is protected and that whatever it is we do in accordance with the tenets of the law will serve as deterrents to other creative content people that want to go through that extreme threshold. We love creative content people. We know they bring smiles to our faces. We know they ease stress, but they must be regulated. That's the standpoint.
Okay. Thank you so much, SP Adewale. Thank you so much. Very well said. So I heard you tell us a particular, I think you said subsection 35 or so, one law policy that regulates kit makers. So I'm wondering, is there a better way to communicate some of these things to the populace? Is it possible? Maybe, because when people do not know, then they take liberty for license and they can get to any extent. So some of the limits, some of the boundaries, when we identify that people are in a particular craft trade, is there any kind of from your command now, the Oyo State Police Command, is there any way that we can gather these people? I'm saying, can we instruct before these things happen? Because so much would have gone bad if we're all correcting and trying to mend. It's a lot easier to build than to repair. So is there, in the nearest future, is there a way we can communicate some of these policies, especially the ones that are tied to entertainment, tied to creativity? Is there a way we can communicate these laws so individuals don't fall victims? And we shouldn't wait. I'm thinking that it's not always good if we have to wait until something happens and then we're trying to let people know that this law actually existed. Is it possible? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me quickly clear the air on this. What I said was that what the guy did, the charge rather, is going to be centered on child abuse and sexual exploitation.
Yeah.
That's under Section 35 of the Child Rights Laws of Oyo State.
Okay.
Now, about the second part of the question, I think that we should encourage our legislators to, reach out to the entertainment sector. Now, these guys fall under the entertainment sector. They make us happy. They bring smiles to our faces. Let's have a sit down. We are not saying you shouldn't go about your content creation things and all that, CDs and all that. We watch them. They are good. In fact, they are exports for the country. They sell us out. But we should have a regulatory power as to the kind of things, the feeds, the content that we put in there. Ours as law enforcement is to check. If we are invited to be a part of the body, to ensure that there's sanity, that's it. All well and good, but it still boils down to them as entertainers, sitting down, having some sort of association to regulate the kind of feeds that leaves their productive tank. Because whatever you give, people will take. And unfortunately, with this kind of viral, sensational video going out, it's going to be very, very appalling if Nigeria as a whole is seen like, okay, look at the content coming from Nigeria. This is just one person being in the streets, not all of them. So we are saying that they should themselves check. There should be some sort of internal mechanism to check the activities and regulate how they run their creative content. That's all, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really must appreciate your swiftness and response on this matter. My question would be that I'm kind of wondering what confidence we have that this case would not be buried or forgotten like a lot of other cases.
Okay, first off, Oyo State Police Command is driven not by emotions, not by sentiments, but by pure professionalism. Do not forget that the first PRO, had already spoken about this matter. Ours is just to initiate the prosecution, having gotten enough facts, the facts, and have gotten enough intelligence, just like the ones we discovered yesterday. Either to now, we did not know that the parents consented to this. We did not know that the parents were part of the pre-production and the post-production. So as the facts emerge, it goes into that prosecution, what's called our file, such that it's enough to put an end to such cases of exploiting children and all that. And as we speak, perhaps we don't even know if the other content creators that would probably want to follow suit, thinking, okay, this will bring more ratings, this will bring more likes, more attention. I don't know if you understand. So having seen this, they would learn that it's more like a deterrent, so that no other person will go or follow suit that line. It's nothing personal. We don't have anything against the content creator, but it's just to put a check on their activities. So, like you said, just to doubt your fears, man. The world is watching, and we are a very professional police organization. The NPF is reformed, and we are professional. Even without anybody checking or telling us what to do, we are professional. We are guided by relevant laws, and with that, we'll succeed. Of course, with you by our side.
All right. Now, you said this is going to serve as a deterrent to those who go the extreme. And I am wondering, what would the limit be for content creators now that wouldn't be termed as extreme? Because there will be those who will be wondering, what are the limits? What are the confines? How do we address this matter such that we are not breaking the law, but we are working within the ambit of the law?
Well, basically, I said it during the course of my submission. First thing to look out for is not infringing on the rights of others. You need to be mindful of their mental health. You need to be mindful of the kind of content you're putting out there, such that it is not sexually explicit. That way, you know you're offending the sensibilities of a lot of people. You are causing a lot of pressure. Then the violent content, it's just common sense. So what we want is this. We've appealed, we've reached out. Content creators can come up with some sort of a body, an association that can check the scripts. I think it starts from the scripts and the dialogue. From there, they know, okay, yes, I know this part should be screened out, this part should be left in, and all that. So I think it starts from that point, during the pre-production, before it eventually becomes an item to be uploaded and for other people to watch. Because once you put it out there, it's always difficult to close that digital sale. There's always like, I mean, of course, you don't go into production with the intent of just keeping your video content, but don't want to see. You want people to watch, you want them to learn, you want them to laugh. But the concern is, what are kinds of things that we put there? Are we actually aiming for them to learn from it, or we just want to just put anything there because we know that once they have visual impressions, it brings in money? So it boils down to the fact that they should come together as an association and check the activities of their members. That's it.
Right. So you did mention that those who have actually suffered any kind of damage from these pranksters can report to the police. There?
Yes, I'm human.
Okay, great. So what's the reassurance that such matters would not be taken with levity, that they would actually be addressed immediately they are reported? And what's the process like? Is it cumbersome? What are the things that these victims need to come up with to be able to make a case against someone that has caused them an emotional or physical damage through their pranks?
Before now, I think let's start like this. First off, we need to encourage the good citizens, general public, to jettison the narrative that the police is not working, that the police is not swift in reacting to matters brought before them. We are under the age of reform. Of course, you know we have a new IGP, and you know that the first PRO CSC has been everywhere, has been doing the thing and pushing that crusade and letting people know that yes, we have a new police force. Now, having said that, whenever you have issues such as this, you don't even have to wait until we get to this level. All we need is just evidence. Okay, this is video content. I was injured. Something happened to me. Blah 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 blah. Once you come forward, we listen. This is more a case for humanity. In as much as these people are doing their thing and trying to make us happy and making not so money by the way, we should also be concerned about the people that are in these videos, the people that directly or indirectly get involved in these videos, with the shoots, with the production and all that. I mean, you can't say because you had a seat and somebody ran. I mean, somebody ran into a moving car, all in the name of being scared that you probably want to do something nasty to them, and you expect everything to just go down. Like, no. That is why we feel like it's better to be on the proactive side. Let there be checks and balances. They have scripts, they have dialogues. There should be a regulatory body arranged, organized by them, checking these things before it gets to the extreme. It's easier when we are on the proactive side than on the reactive side.
All right. We must thank you, spokesperson for the Oyo State Police Command, SP Adewale Oshifeso, MNIPR, for your time on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess we'll have to quickly go on a break. When we return, we have another topic that we will bring forward for your contribution. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ask questions if I want to ask questions. And if it's something that I saw coming, I may not even ask questions. I may just... I may even tell you I saw this.
What if it's in person? But then, would it make a difference where? So, like, this person might just say, you people can just be on Third Milan Bridge. On a bike. And the person say, babe, I cannot do it again. And you lose range. So, what would change? What would change the scenario? Like, does it matter where? Do you want to have like a fancy dinner, like the film you were mentioning?
No, like finding your right.
Or do you want to be on the street?
Don't carry me go fancy dinner.
Or you might just una dey run for treadmill.
Or una dey jog.
Don't tell you lose for your web.
Now I don't turn attempted murder.
So which would it be? Because I'm like, in person you have the closure that you want and the few injuries.
Guys, that's one place. It could be inside the car. You can sit inside the car.
Why car? Why not bike?
Who will be driving?
Why bike?
Who will be driving at this point?
The car will be stationary.
Pray I'm not the one driving.
The car will be stationary.
Because I go master. You can't be telling me like me. I'm going to drive near water. You must consider.
Ikechukwu Sunday Okonkwo, aka Cross. Now your intro without one.
Wow.
So there's a name that thing that's.
I'm just drinking because you say I should drink. There's no particular answer.
You think it's only that can be wicked?
What's the answer?
Subterfuge.
Eh?
Yeah. They claim you did, but you said it just happened. That
and it's called what again?
Subterfuge.
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 So you look me finish from head to toe. You look at a person who go know what to become subterfuge. Yeah?
The nude wasn't like a game plan.
I promise you, it was actually a mistake. Like it was sending it to someone, and it just mistakenly just.
Ladies and gentlemen, multiple award-winning actor, producer, ambassador of Edo People, we have Etinosa Idemudia in the building!
Don't be first to go police station, they win the case.
Okay.
So you are showing yourself.
I go see as my second question.
You are feeling like a contact the prancing peacock. I'm about to cut your wings. Hello? Now, in the amalgamation of 1914, who was the woman who said, who drew the line of the amalgamation? They, who cut the report? Who is the person that used scissors? What is his name?
That woman.
Yeah,
drink.
You have done me dirty. I've marked your face. I've marked your face. If anything happened to me today,
I don't
if I don't reach my house. Anyway, I'm gonna be chauffeured, so.
You remember now, Avi? Yeah, but you never too thin. Now you remember.
Hey.
If a person who indulges habitually in watching a sexual material is called a voyeur.
That's what they're called.
You clearly say you don't go even get the next one.
Hey, a voyeur.
Voyeur.
Then go on.
What is a person who makes one?
A voyeur. A voyagist. A bon voyage.
Relationship expert Blessing Okoro, also known as Blessing CEO, has come out to say that side chicks are necessary for marriages. And now here's what she gave as the excuse She said that a lot of marriages would have been broken by now, if not because of side chicks, because women, after going for school runs, doing one thing or the other, they fall pregnant, they don't have that strength to satisfy their husbands, and that side chicks are younger, they are not burdened with all of these things, and so can actively play that role. So what are your thoughts? Join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. Or you can tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewTVC. We'd like to hear your perspective on what Blessing CEO has said. And it's over to you, ladies. Because I don't want to start this. Because if I begin,
You know, Veronica, in fact, what is baffling me, what is even surprising is the fact that this lady is a relationship expert.
What certificates did she get to be termed a relationship? Because when we see somebody talk about certain things over and over again, we begin to call the person an expert. How?
Self-acclaimed.
I beg self-acclaimed. So finish your line of thoughts.
That's the first question on my mind. So please, Mrs. Fash.
All right. So I'd like to look away from Blessing CEO and just pick what she said.
Of course. Go ahead.
If I have to look at her, I'll be asking myself, what justification does she have to advise those of us that we should allow this?
I don't understand.
No. So I choose to ignore that because I've seen a number of, is this kids now, or a number of men also say the same thing. So Blessing is not the first person that I would
She's just re-echoing.
She's just re-echoing
what a number of men have said.
So before I don't want to take my time on Blessing. Let the online in-laws let online in-laws face Blessing. But let's talk about the message. And then, I'm married. Been married for about 14 years.
Whoa.
I know that. I'm talking to, thank you. So I know that no married woman wants to hear or imagine that there is some side chick anywhere. That's one very sensitive topic for 90% of married women. But talking about the advice that side chicks, well, I wouldn't say there's no sense in that statement. I'm not
How do you mean, please?
I'm going
break it down because I want. Yes,
I'll explain. So I know that when I first got married, there was a lot of excitement. This is my husband, this is my wife. We're always into each other. We did everything together. And then the children started coming. And in my head, there was, let me face my baby. My baby needs me. This baby needs me. This baby is tied to me. When I'm outside, I'll say, if anything happens to me now, what will happen to my son? And my husband didn't like it. Okay, so it grew worse. It's time for school. I know women, there's a way we carry everything on our head. So it's not a lie that at some point the men suffer neglect. So instead of criticizing the spokeswoman, I think we should all pick sense and see how to go back and see what to do in our homes that our men do not feel.
But there is a danger.
Veronica, I'm not done.
You're not done. Go ahead.
I wanted to pick something very important. Now, over the years, I found out that even if I am 100% available to my husband, that does not mean if I hear that there's a side chick, I'll say, hey, Tufiakwa, no. So I know that it's not about my effort. It's not about losing all the weight. All of those things, they left long time ago because I realized that in being a wife, it would be wrong of me to lose myself just wanting to be somebody else's wife. I was somebody when he married me. So now that I'm his wife, I must never lose my identity. He will always enjoy having me by his side if I am still me. So I don't go out every day hoping that there's a side chick helping my marriage. I put my marriage in God's hand and I continue to be me. Let the side chick who thinks she wants to save somebody else's marriage remain a side chick. This is such a controversial topic that is now, I would say, is dependent on how you choose to look at it. But is it true that some men feel neglected sometime in the marriage? Yes. But is it true that the side chicks are necessary for keeping them maybe no. That's just.
You said maybe no.
So
maybe
let me bring the balance that I wanted to. Okay. I was talking about the danger, because you are creating a mindset. Okay. And this is how we lose values in our society. That okay, this thing is this manner, this way, and so because it is this, it is that, it is what what it is to make certain things work. There are various ways of making your marriage work. If you feel that, if a man feels that he is being neglected, then there is something called having a conversation with your wife. What is even the relationship between the husband and the wife before the children came? And yes, you are beginning to see that, okay, there is a gap. And your eyes are outside. Did you have a conversation with your wife, or did you guys try to have a conversation and she is not listening, and you decided, okay, I can find solace in the arms of another woman? Remember, fuel subsidy has been removed. So your expenses,
there's prayer everywhere.
Your expenses is double. You are the one that will still suffer for it, because at the end of the day, when anything happens to you, this side chick may not be there. Oftentimes they are not there, and you fall back to the woman you felt was neglecting you. So why didn't you have that conversation in the first place? So what am I saying? Basically, the danger. Let us not inculcate in people certain narratives that we know is not true, and that you, that is the mouthpiece, will not accept.
We should not encourage bad behavior.
We should not encourage what we know is not right. We usually talk about women supporting women, but what are we having? What's the conversation now?
The side chicks are women too now.
Are we supporting the woman in the home?
Number one, the side chicks are women. Number two,
are they supporting the woman
Veronica,
in the home?
your view is very, very feminine. I'm not saying from a feminist point of view, but
I'm not a feminist.
No, that's not where I'm going.
Right.
What I mean is, if we have a number of men, from a woman's point of view, if you have a number of men here, so I've got very close friends who I know had side chicks one time or the other. In fact, one of them had the nerve to ask me to get a job for a side chick, and when the girl came to me, she said, so let me just get a name now. She said something like, Dipo, we are getting married. In my mind, I'm like, and people were saying, you know, you can't tell my wife, but I need you to know that my marriage is over. So listening to him, if those guys that have side chicks, if they sit you down, and
that's why I asked
the
the question. Did you have a conversation with your wife? What's the relationship between? Because sometimes what couples do, which is wrong, is they see themselves as competitors.
How?
How?
Do you mean either spouse, husband, wife?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are all working towards a goal. Yeah. That is why we have a conversation. Oh, I'm feeling neglected here. We are in a marriage, and I'm feeling neglected. I'm feeling that you are not contributing to me, because we pour into each other. I'm feeling that you are not contributing to me. That's why I asked the question. What is the relationship between you and your spouse? What is it like? Did you have a conversation and the woman is being stubborn and insisting that, you know, I have to do this, I have to do that? Okay, if she feels she's burdened, how are you helping her lessen the burden?
That's a very vital question. You know,
how are you helping her lessen the burden that is making her not have time for you, the man, that is claiming you are not, she's not giving you that attention?
From my own,
okay, go ahead.
This is very valid. You know, when people come to my house, I tell them any work, any house chore that cannot be done is left undone. Because I focus on priorities. Yes, there may be dishes I don't have a help. I have 2 boys. I take it one day at a time. So I want to have spent all my energy tidying up the house, you know, and doing other things, such that when my husband now comes, I'll now be so tired. I reserve that energy
for the other room.
Please, that's not what I'm saying. Listen to my voice.
Whatever the room.
She reserves the energy for the other room.
What I'm trying to say, please, is the fact that women are most times
so women, we should talk to ourselves.
Yes, encumbered with the fact that I have this to take care of, and forgetting the priorities and things that really matter.
So thank you so much for that.
My own opinion, from my view.
We are waiting for your view.
Okay, so from my view, I do not agree with that narrative that side chicks actually make the marriages better. Right? I don't know, because if they actually make it better, then the men who went into polygamy will not do second wife, third wife, fourth wife. You should have actually found your happiness with the second one that is making the marriage better. However, we cannot discard the fact that there are real issues in marriages that actually drive men out into the hands of a side chick. And then the side chick is not the one that is supposed to, most side chicks, it's not their business if the marriage is working or not.
Of course.
It's not their
responsibility.
responsibility.
Don't even want commitment from
Exactly. It's not their responsibility.
You'll be shocked.
No,
after a while, they want commitment.
Yeah, there are some, maybe they now take their contracts beyond what it is, and then maybe they fall in love. Yeah. That because most second wives, there must have been some kind of interaction with the man, and before they will now decide to make it official. Exactly. But there are real issues that should be discussed. I think women should understand the need to spice up their marriages. Exactly. I understand that, okay, women have to be disciplined. Okay, so if as a woman I'm disciplined, I can stay with one man, I can, enjoy the company of one man, then my husband too should be able to do it. However, there are strategies that you can, that you can inculcate in your marriage. It's not every time that you'll be doing bed. Sometimes book a hotel and say, baby, meet me at 201. Meet me at 201. Do you understand? Or you take your husband on a holiday, spice it up. Don't always, I know that there are a lot of responsibilities that the women, like taking care
where to put the children.
Yeah, taking care of the children. That's why the husband actually needs
into your relationship.
Exactly. That's why the husband needs to also help the wife, because she has to be mentally fit to even get creative.
You see, you're all coming to my side. What people don't know is you're all coming to my side. Both
this is on your side, very.
You are not talking about you are just eradicating it.
No, I'm not. You're not understanding. Call him to say, see.
So let's look for ways. Look for ways to ensure that the communication line.
The communication line is open, and you communicate it. It's open, and you communicate in various ways. In various ways, you can send a note. You can just know how to spice your relationship. We are saying the same thing in different ways.
Veronica, I have a response to Blessing when you're done.
Okay. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, how do you even see your spouse? Because some persons just get married for the sake of, they said we should get married, and I am getting married, and do not have a relationship, friendship with their spouses. And so it's difficult for them to have such kind of conversation with their spouses. So they look for other persons whom they feel they are comfortable with to have conversations and begin to find solace in such persons. Before they know, emotions have jumped in and things begin to happen. That's why I'm saying, it begins with how you see your spouse.
And make the move. Make the move.
Have a conversation. If you are feeling neglected, talk to your spouse. Ensure that they are in that space where you can have a conversation with them and they listen to you.
And pray.
That's what I'm saying. There are persons who do not believe in prayer. We have a mixed audience. There are persons who do not believe in prayer. So that you pray. Some other persons do not believe, prayer will solve my problems. They feel that, okay, once I do this, I spice things up here and there, like she pointed, I will be fine. But yes, we know that there are spiritual dimensions to certain things. But as much as we don't want to, talk about that,
but we should also
you must make the effort to
men's discipline.
I believe that once you speak with your spouse, as long as the person is not a wicked person,
and telling the truth,
and the person is someone that is reasonable,
and hope is telling you the truth,
and the person is ready to be transparent with you.
So that's the line.
You can, listen, because if we say we want to flip this matter now, and we say the woman
to come into the house.
She's getting.
Okay.
You know,
on the side.
support on the side.
That's war.
That's war.
That's a case of let
People
us
don't
not
want
go
to
there.
hear it.
Let us not go there.
People don't want to hear
You
it.
see, why would you want to hear it?
It's because of how the society has positioned the man as, you know, of course you are the head of the house. So there's that right that, okay, you can get away with, there's that, you know, patriarchal system. So the man can get away with things. So it's unheard of when a woman cheats on her husband. It's as though she has committed.
You are a goner.
It's as if she has committed a taboo.
Nobody will forgive you. Your family?
Exactly. Your family, your friends.
Your friends.
How could you do that? This, that. So I don't want our audience to, because sometimes I see some comments in the comment section that, oh, why are women always trying to drag the rights of men? What men can do, women cannot do it.
Women can do better.
No, they cannot do it at a certain level. But what we are saying is that the man should please have, the man should please have sense. Because there are some men that are very reckless. Like they go after anything in skirts. I said, fine girl. They start chasing, and once they conquer that one, they move to another one. They move to another one. That one is pure indiscipline, and it should be curbed. If you need to go for a deliverance session, please do. But the ones that actually have sense, and maybe situations have actually compelled them to wanting another woman, it's very important. Just like Veronica has been saying, that you should communicate these feelings with your wife and look for how you can all, you know, coexist. There are some women that have open relationships. There are some women that bring other women.
Let's not do that. People have planned before they got into that.
Some people actually don't mind to have their husbands, you know, do these things. Some don't mind. However, I must put it out that
some even go to look for
sometimes
let her talk now.
We create excuses for our indiscipline. Rather than facing it head on to say, I have this weakness, we now begin to say, it's okay. It is just the way men are wired. It is just the way women are wired in nature. And sometimes we may begin to now think about the impact of these things. Now, have you ever thought of STDs?
Yeah.
When, you know, it's just really upsetting. Now, the impact on your children, when they see you doing these things, what mindset do you want them to have? So sometimes you just create an excuse.
I know someone that said that.
Some people actually they try to be upright.
See, let me tell you,
your situation
should not lord it over you. It is you that should
I agree.
Take control of any situation.
Not allow it.
I know someone who said that because he saw his father cheating, he also began to
that's a
Now, that's impact. Yes. What are you teaching?
Or when a man even does it, sometimes they are not scolded. They beg them.
Don't be angry.
You don't respect. See, that is not respecting your wife at all. That is not respecting your husband if it's the woman that is doing the whole movement thing. I think that if we are being sincere with ourselves, because at old age is when you will realize that you need the true companion.
You will not remember any
You will not remember this side chick that you are raising shoulder and carrying up and down, feeling that you are getting satisfied. She would have moved on with her life. If she did not have children for you, or if she did not decide that, okay, she wants to be second wife or third wife, you know that you cannot handle that burden, except you have the war chest to handle the body and you feel that, okay, you want to marry her and all of that. But if you want peace, and if you want someone who will stand by you at old age, you should sit down and have a conversation. There is nothing conversation cannot do.
Think about your future.
There is nothing conversation cannot do. Because I knew how my parents were before my dad passed. I saw it that at old age, forget your children will leave you. It is two of you.
That will remain.
And if you have a third party,
and God would even help. Yeah, God would even help the man that has health issues and needs his wife. Then you know that I was wrong. But you know, Veronica, what I have to say now is everything you have just said. Don't doubt it that these men know. don't assume when people have side chicks it's because they don't know the consequence.
They do.
But there's nothing that hurts me up to seeing women lose it because their husbands have side chicks. I don't want
and some of them is because of the sacrifices they have paid.
Irrespective
but at the end of the day, make your marriage work. We need to end this conversation now. Make your marriage work. Bottom line, have peace. Ensure that you are transferring that value to your children.
Absolutely.
And that is what it is about.
And be fine.